Okay, scientific revolution in the age of enlightenment. We will focus here for a while. I will give you some key points and key people that you need to remember. Basically, you need to know that the use of reason was used in thinking at this time in history. The power of the mind to think and understand in a logical way is emphasized here. Last year, you studied the Reformation and the Renaissance. This year, we're going to focus on scientific and enlightenment, and you need to understand that they did occur at the same time. Okay, they were not exclusive of one another. So all this change in thinking is going to create a lot of animosity between the church and other people of power. The revolution and how people thought about the world. Okay, no more will they accept explanations like this is what the church doctrine says. No more are they going to accept truths without experimentation, observation, and logic. Okay, Ptolemy is a good example. He's an ancient philosopher from Greece, and he believed that the universe the Earth was the center, and that would later be proven not true. Once the printing press was invented, okay, the information exchange between scientists was much different. They were able to build on one another's ideas. Copernicus, Kepler, and Galileo are good examples of this. Copernicus developed heliocentric theory, which we know today, and that is that the sun is at the center of the universe. Kepler, he measured the oval paths or ellipses around the sun by the planets, and Galileo used the telescope to prove heliocentric theory. Okay, so they were challenging the ideas of all these ancient philosophers as well as the church. Bacon, he was a lawyer and a philosopher, and he's credited for creating the scientific method. You guys are all familiar with the scientific method? Okay, this is a method you guys use in science classes every day. Copernicus is considered the founder of astronomy. He developed heliocentric theory, which I previously discussed. He will create problems with the church, but he will die before he can be brought to trial. Galileo, however, was not so lucky. He was brought before the church to be charged with heresy. He proved Copernican theory using the telescope, and he will spend many of the last of his days under house arrest, where he will secretly continue his work. Okay, these are the steps in the scientific method. That you should be very familiar with these. Okay, you use them all the time. And these are also going to be applied later, okay, to society's problems. Isaac Newton, you should be familiar also with his name. He develops the laws of motion, okay, and he describes gravity. Now, this new science will focus on observation and experiments, reason. Bacon and Descartes will both contribute to developing the new scientific method rather than doing things the old way by just observing them and coming up with an idea. Okay. Also, an interesting fact is that many of the royals, the monarchs, okay, would support this science. Okay, they liked the idea. They created things like the Royal Society of London and the Academy of Science. They brought scientists together and financed their research. This will create great benefits and advances in life science and medicine and technology. My question to you is, and you should answer this in your notes, why would the monarchs support scientists rather than the church? The Enlightenment is another branch of the scientific revolution. They will apply this reason or this logical thought to political, economic, and social thought. They believed that if they thought about people's problems this way, okay, that they would be able to solve many of them and improve the lives of the people of the day. Now remember, kings ruled by divine right at this time, and the church held great power. A lot of these new ideas are not going to be welcomed. Uh, Economically speaking, laissez-faire, which means that the government stays out of the ideas of business, and a free market economy will also play a factor. Um, they applied these ideas, okay, or the use of reason to all areas: behavior, government, economics. Philosophies were lovers of wisdom. They believed that people should be educated. Three of the most popular, or the three of the names you should be familiar with, are Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau. Their works, amongst the other works of other Enlightenment thinkers, were collected in the Encyclopedia. Okay, 35 volumes of their ideas. This will also help to spread the ideas of the Enlightenment. Voltaire, he argued for free speech, also religious tolerance. Thomas Hobbes is the other end of the spectrum. He believed in absolute rule, okay, that a king should make the decisions for everybody and control everything. John Locke argued for natural rights. He believed that every person was born with the right to life, liberty, and property. His writing was Two Treatises of Government. Montesquieu argued for the division of power. He believed that if all the power was in one person's hands, that would lead to corruption. Therefore, we need three branches of government in order to function properly. Now, the printing press also enabled things to be printed not only faster, but cheaper. Therefore, more people have access to these writings and these ideas. They would discuss them in what were called salons, and they were just gatherings in people's homes where they discussed the ideas of the Enlightenment writers. An interesting aside is that they believed that women had different rights than men, that they were not equal. These are the different ways Enlightenment ideas were spread: through the salons or the discussions, through the encyclopedia, through pamphlets that were distributed everywhere, and also the courts of monarchs, such as the ones we discussed prior to this. Enlightened despots were rulers that worked with Enlightenment ideas. Now, these were absolute rulers, make no mistake. They are not going to give up power, okay, but they do believe that their people should be treated differently. We will discuss the Enlightened despots, and we will also discuss more philosophers and scientists more in class.